thought that they had sufficient
There's
sources.
not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Her committee falsely claimed, here you go, they had no evidence to support Trump's official claims that the White House had communicated its desires for 10,000 National Guards.
Well, because the fact is that the President of the United States, the former president, and his toadies do not want to face the facts.
What'd you call us?
They're trying to do revisionist history on January 6th.
A new January 6th video shows exactly what we've all known. Liz Cheney and Nancy Pelosi are both big fat liars who have covered up the January 6th case and tried to create a political narrative to get rid of their political opponents. And new evidence shows the extent of their conspiracy. This new video came out from Nancy Pelosi that we had not seen before, where she admits that she was responsible for security as the Speaker of the House. The Senate Sergeant-at-Arms and the House Sergeant-at-Arms responsible for the security in both chambers. Stephen Sund, the former Capitol Hill Chief of Police, when he was there on J6, says he kept going to the House Sergeant-at-Arms, who reports to Nancy, and they were not allowing him to take action, to do anything. We also know that Trump asked Mayor Muriel Bowser to send over National Guard, and Muriel Bowser responded saying, keep your troops out of our city. So Pelosi is here now busted, admitting all of this. And let's listen to what it sounds like in this clip from Pelosi that just came out from the Oversight Subcommittee. They posted this from Congress saying, since January 6, 2021, Nancy Pelosi spent 3+ years and nearly $20 million creating a narrative to blame Donald Trump. New footage shows that on J6, Pelosi admitted, quote, I take responsibility. Here is what Pelosi said in the aftermath of J6.
Have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin
Muriel
with?
Bowser said no.
They thought that they had sufficient
There's
sources.
not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Wow, interesting. I take responsibility for not having them prepare for more. Yeah, well, yeah, there was a lot of security failures there that the J6 committee didn't investigate at all. Stephen Sund wrote a whole book about it, and it's incredible, actually. If you want to know a lot about that, I highly recommend it. She was also playing this patty cake game with Chuck Schumer, where they're acting like they're leaders in a crisis, and it's really kind of hysterical to watch them.
Why don't you get the president to tell them to leave the Capitol, Mr. Attorney General, in your law enforcement responsibility? A public statement they should all leave. He is saying, his tweet said, we are for peace.
Law and order.
Law and order.
Yeah.
Why don't you get him to make that statement? Would you do that? Would you ask the president to make a statement to ask them to leave the Capitol?
So, as he might guess, coordinating as quickly and as...
No. Please answer my question. Answer my question.
Senator, I'm going to do everything I can do.
Does that include asking the president to get these people who are followers of her to leave the Capitol?
It reminds me of like high school kids when something goes wrong. I remember being in those situations and like everybody's just screaming at each other. So, all right, those are our two leaders. Now, Mollie Hemingway has done a great job on this, and the video shows exactly what we saw, that Nancy Pelosi was in fact responsible. And the transcripts confirm this. Mollie Hemingway at The Federalist wrote about this some time ago, completely vindicated. She put this back up. She says, here's an exclusive. Liz Cheney and the J6 committee suppressed exonerating evidence. We know. And now it's confirmed. Former representative, great piece from Mollie Hemingway at The Federalist, says that the J6 committee suppressed a bunch of evidence, and she got this from transcripts. Her committee falsely claimed, here you go, they had no evidence to support Trump's official claims that the White House had communicated its desires for 10,000 National Guards. Yeah, they did. In fact, early transcribed interview conducted by the committee, Liz had precisely that evidence. The interview, which Cheney attended and personally participated in, was suppressed from public until now, just like that video. Chief of Staff Deputy Tony Ornato, his first transcribed interview, this was the guy that was part of Clavicle Girl's fake story. In it, he told Cheney that he overheard White House Chief of Staff pushed D.C. Mayor Mark Meadows, pushed Mayor Muriel Bowser to get National Guard there, and they declined. He also testified that Trump had suggested 10,000 would be needed to keep peace for the rally. Ornato also described, which Liz Cheney never told us about, White House frustration with Christopher Miller's slow deployment of assistance on the afternoon of J6. So Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller, all these people dragging their feet, something bad happens, weird. Not only did the committee not accurately characterize the interview, they suppressed the transcript, didn't even show it to us. On top of that, committee allies began publishing critical stories of these conspiracy theories. Cheney frequently frequently pointed to skeptics. She said, we have all these transcripts and documents and so on. But the transcripts of fewer than half 1,000 interviews are posted, and the others have been buried. And they deleted a bunch of them that the Republicans have not even able to get their hands on. So the subcommittee is finally now releasing some more videos, some more evidence. Mollie Hemingway vindicated on that one. And so Nancy Pelosi put down the tequila for the night and is now out in damage control trying to explain what the heck happened here. And she goes on with her favorite MSNBC host.
Why do you think this is stirred up and a brouhaha on the right and in some corners of the media today?
Well, because the fact is that the President of the United States, the former president, and his toadies do not want to face the facts.
What'd you call us?
They're trying to do revisionist history on January 6th. But we cannot let us be dragged into their, again, false impression of what happened that day. They know what happened that day. They know how serious it is and was and continues to have an impact on our country.
Why didn't you secure the
and
building?
yet they want to call the people who were in there hostages. Last night I received the Lincoln Award. I was so proud of receiving that. And I said in my remarks, Lincoln built the dome on the Capitol. He insisted that it be built during the Civil War so that it could show the resilience of America. And to see these people coming through the Capitol with their foul deeds and foul actions, waving Confederate flags
FBI
and Nazi flags
agent.
under Lincoln's dome
They were there.
was so shameful.
Yeah.
And yet
HSI was
this
there,
president
too.
who incited,
How
this
come it
former
wasn't
president
secured,
who
Nancy?
incited this
How come you didn't pick up the
insurrection
phone when
would
Stephen Sun
not
was calling
send the
you
National
to get
Guard
permission to do
for
something about
hours.
it?
People were harmed. People were killed.
Yeah, you guys shot
died
someone
one way
called
or
Ashley
another.
Babbitt with a gun.
And what did he do but try to deny that any of it happened? This is a terrible thing. But let us not take away the attention of what we need to do to go
What's that,
forward.
Nancy?
We have to unify
Money for
our
Ukraine?
country. We have to
Oh,
bring
gosh.
people together.
You just called
in a
us
way-
toadies, lunatic.
In a way that honors the vision of our founders,
You
the
just called us
sacrifice of our
toadies.
men and women in uniform, as well as the aspirations of our children. I just came back from
Ukraine.
D-Day in Normandy to see our veterans there. The 80th anniversary of
Yeah.
it. Some of the youngest of them were 97, some over 100.
Are you talking about the Ukrainians or the American D-Day? What are you talking about? Because you have a Ukraine flag on. D-Day was American. So I don't know what she's actually interested in or not. Okay, but that's Pelosi. She is trying to explain that we're all toadies, but we should be unified and just listen to them. And if we stopped questioning the severity of January 6th or really any alternative explanations for what happened there and question why the most supposed to be secure building where all of our representatives were, all of our senators were for a very important day, how it was able to be overtaken like that. How is that possible? They're either incompetent or they're intentional, one or the other. So Nancy Pelosi, an absolute liar. Liz Cheney, a liar. We know they were responsible for the security that day. They tried to blame Trump. They declined to create security that would have been reasonable and prudent. And now they're trying to shift the blame and exploit this situation for their own political ends. So we'll be here to continue to call them liars because that's what they are. And we hope you join us as we do. Thank you for subscribing to our channel, my friends. Thanks for liking this video. Thanks for inviting someone you know or love to come over here and join us. We got a great segment coming up. Our first segment was all about Hunter Biden's guilty verdict. We'd love to see you over there and back here on the next one.